Mitrovich. And yes, we are live, and today is Tuesday, and we got Joseph Aioli and Larry Griffith. Thanks for joining, gentlemen. And we are going to talk about lighting circuits and the NEC, and I want to focus in on the dwelling unit. But we made some recent changes in the load calculations. In Article 220, it was 220.12. I was looking for my spectacles. Boy, I'm nothing without my spectacles, Joseph and Larry. We were just on Code Making Panel 2. I think they were still going, but we're going to talk about lighting and the NEC, and I'm going to focus in on dwelling units. So today's topic on IAEI News Live, Steve Cavalaris, Joseph Aioli, and Larry Griffith, we're going to be talking about lighting and the NEC, a little focus on dwelling units, and a little drizzle of commercial and industrial. All right, and it all starts now. Oh, that was quick. I think I cut that off really quick. Steve? All right. Hey, you know, today is I got to stop this, and I got to say done and close that. All right. So, ladies and germs and gentlemen, let's do this. Hey, Willie Snyder, happy Tech Tuesday. I always say the other trades would look brighter with more temp lighting. Yes. Yes, if you want to shine light on something, add some lighting. All right, so I need to figure out the gist here. It seems like after I come off of after I come off of some of these meetings, I'm watching the task group work on Code Panel 2, and you try to participate, and I'm multitasking, so I've got so many things going on at the same time. I don't know how the heck I manage it, but I do. I try. All right, so I'm going to try something here, and I don't know if this is monitor 1 or monitor 2. Nope. Monitor 1 is me. Whoa, I got the wrong background, the whole bit going on. Oh, man. All right. I got to reconnect some stuff. But so, if you recall last week, I think it was last week, we were having a discussion, I believe, about bathrooms. And when we talked about bathrooms, we said, I think I was relating my conversation with, or not my conversation, my application with my bathroom. I'm just going to check this out just to make sure this works. Yay, it worked. Woohoo! All right. So I was relating the discussion I had about my bathrooms. Oh, happy Halloween. That's right. You know what I told Bobby Joe? I told my wife, I said, I'm going to dress up for my IAEI News Live today. And you know what she said? Don't. So I'm not dressing up for Halloween. I'm coming as, my Halloween costume is Tom Dimitrovich. And I know it's scary to most. Nat King Code in the house. David Engelhardt, thanks for joining. And yes, right back at you. Happy Halloween. So last week we were talking about my bathroom and how there's a three-way switch up there. One was hidden behind a mirror. They used spackle to fill in, and I moved the light because we still wanted a mirror, because where the sink was and where the mirror would have to be in that bathroom, it would cover up if you wanted to put a light switch inside the bathroom right when you open up the door this way. And right on the left-hand side of the wall there's a mirror, and I don't have room for a light switch. So the previous owners just basically took that lighting outlet, took the controls out, the light switch out, and then they did put wire nuts, and they did wrap it with some black tape. They pushed the wires back in, and then they did a nice big glob of spackle, and they filled in the box. Not good. Just saying, that was not good. So what I did was, I knew that was there. I had an electrician come in. I told him, I said, look, take those out. And in the other bathroom, they did something similar. They put a mirror on the entire back wall, and they covered up all those receptacles. So we found all of the areas where they filled the spackle in. They just globbed spackle into the outlet. We pulled all that out. I inspected the wires. They looked good because of the black tape and everything. So by the time we took everything off, the wires were protected, thank God. But there was a lot of heat. There was a lot of heat being generated inside that enclosure, that outlet. So what I had him do in the bathroom was simply take the box and turn it around so that the light switch was in the hallway. Now, being the code guy that I am, my intent, my thought process was, I knew I was going to do it, but I'm trying to figure out what code section am I violating, right? Because I could not see any possible reason why putting the controls to the light outside of the room before I enter would be a problem. I mean, practically, I didn't see an issue. And I could not find any language in the code that would prohibit that, because when you look at, I believe it's 210.70, and hopefully you got your, now here's what I got. I got my 2023 code book. I've got my 2020 code book. And I have my 2017 code book, and you're going to wonder, wow, Tom, that 17 book looks like it's brand spanking new. Woo, it is. Relatively brand spanking new. And the reason is because on all of these, this was my first code cycle, and I got signatures on all of my code making panels. This is my special book. I had it on the wall, and I took it off the wall because my other code book, which usually sits over here, I was with a gentleman, a young gentleman, who said he couldn't afford a code book. And I had two 2017s. So I gave him my other code book, not this one. So now I have to use my my signed document. But in any case, I've got the hard bounds. I'm going to try to use the books today. I can use the web, but I'm just going to use my books. I got the 17, the 20, and the 2023. Now, if you go to 210.70, 210.70 is called lighting outlets required. What 210.70 says is that lighting outlets shall be installed where specified in A, B, and C. Now, if I look at bathrooms, additional locations for dwelling unit or garages, detached garages, where lighting outlets installed in interior stairways, at least one lighting outlet listed shall be installed in hallways, etc., etc. So habitable rooms, kitchens, laundry areas, and bathrooms. So I started in C, and I worked my way back up to A. I am not the sharpest spoon in the drawer. All right, so 210.70A, dwelling units, 1, specifically speaks to bathrooms. It says at least one lighting outlet controlled by a listed wall-mounted control device shall be installed in, now the lighting outlet shall be installed in every habitable room, kitchen, laundry area, and bathroom. The wall-mounted control device shall be located near an entrance to the room on a wall. It just says near an entrance. It doesn't say it has to be in the room. It could be outside the room, and in my case, it was outside the room near the entrance. So it didn't violate the NEC. Although for some reason, Robert from Omaha, I thought for sure I was violating the NEC, and I wasn't worried about an inspector finding it because there's no inspection requirements. But I'm the AHJ in this house when my wife isn't here, and I wanted to make sure that I wasn't violating the NEC. I like to go above and beyond, but I do not like to violate the NEC whenever I do anything in my own house, because it would be kind of embarrassing, wouldn't it? But in any case, so my thought process was, I first looked at, and here's my point, not my point, here's a little side note. When you're thinking about lighting and controls in a dwelling unit, or any application for that matter, the first step, this right here, is not your first step. I'm sorry if you think, I know a lot. So I know we love to dig our hands into this book. We like to work hard at understanding the requirements, and there is a false impression. There is a false impression that this is the first step I go to, and it's not. Where's your first step? Your first step is to talk to your customer. In my case, my customer is myself and my wife, who use the room, who live in this house. If I was hiring an electrician to wire my home, I'm going to tell them what I want. I'm going to tell them I want a three-way control. I want only one light switch. I want more than one light switch. I want more than one light. I might want 12 can lights in this little space I'm in over here in my little studio. I might want 12 can lights, and I might tell them, look, I want one light switch for this row of can lights. I want 12 light switches, one for each row of can lights. You don't go in here and go, hey, that's not required by the code. No, you do what I want you to do, because I'm going to pay you to do it, because that's the specification, right? So you have a diagram, you have a consulting engineer who might be doing a diagram based upon working with the architect, who works with who? The end user, and they establish what they want in this building. If they want to go above and beyond, they can. You can't tell them no, because it doesn't violate the code. But once you have your design, then you check the book and make sure that your design doesn't violate this. So in my case, I knew I wanted a three-way switch. When I walked into the bathroom, I want a light switch. When I come in off the hallway, and when I come in off the bedroom, I want a light switch. Both locations. I don't want to have to walk across the bathroom to turn on the light. I walk in a dark room. So my customer want and need was, I want a three-way switch. I couldn't put it on the inside of that room, so I put it on the outside of the room. And then, what did I do after that? I said, do I violate the NEC? And I found that I do not violate the NEC because of the language in 210.70A1, last sentence, the wall-mounted control device shall be located near an entrance to the room on a wall. Look at the PIQ. Hey, look at that. That's right. Ouch. It's over there. I'm backwards on my screen. PIQ, product IQ. And here's the thing. For the product IQ, I don't have, in my application, I didn't have a need to go to product IQ unless I'm trying to understand what. Now, here's the other thing we did. When I bought a house down in St. Louis, Missouri, when I lived in St. Louis, and the bathroom had a ceiling fan. The inspector it was a home inspector, flagged the ceiling fan in the bathroom, saying that the ceiling fan was not rated for that location. And we could have an argument or a debate about whether or not a ceiling, let's talk about that, Robert from Omaha. ceiling fan in a bathroom. I never thought I would like a ceiling fan in the bathroom. In fact, when we bought the house, I was looking at that like, this is going to be the first thing I remove, because I'm like, why do I have a ceiling fan in the bathroom? But I'll tell you what, I loved it in my bathroom. We replaced the ceiling fan with another ceiling fan rated for outdoors. Now, we could have a debate on whether or not it's definitely not a wet location, it's a damp location. Is a ceiling fan listed and rated for a damp location, like a bathroom? What do you guys and gals think? In the chat, tell me what you think. Do I need to put a ceiling fan listed for outdoors? And they come with the bulb is all enclosed and everything. And that's a damp location, right? Because it's not in direct rain. If you have a ceiling fan installed outdoors, it's probably under a porch. It's definitely not getting water directly on it because what? It's under a roof. It's probably more of a damp location. Would you require, if you put a ceiling fan in a bathroom, is it required to be listed for outdoor use? I'd love to know your input on this. Drying in the breeze. Moving air makes you feel like you're drying in the breeze. So the point is, Robert, I know what I did. I avoided the debate by just buying a fan that was listed for outdoor because we wanted that look anyway. It was the type of fan that she wanted. My wife wanted, so we just got that. She was happy with the globe that was on the bottom, etc. It didn't look bad. But I would love your guys and gals' opinion on that one. From a bathroom perspective, putting a ceiling fan in there, it's a lighting fixture. Obviously, it has a light associated with it, so it would meet the requirements of 210.70 A1. It would be controllable by a wall-mounted control device, which we can have a debate on what is a wall-mounted control device. That's the next. So in any case, 210.70. A, dwelling units. That's what we want to focus on, is dwelling units. So in dwelling unit, lighting outlets shall be installed in accordance with A1. So A1, habitable rooms. And what is a habitable room? There's a defined term. Habitable room is a defined term. Habitable room is a room in a building for living, sleeping, eating, or cooking, but excluding bathrooms, toilet rooms, closets, hallways, storage, or utility spaces, and similar areas. So the habitable rooms, kitchens. Now, kitchens are a habitable room, right? Habitable room for living, sleeping, eating, or cooking. Excludes bathrooms, toilet rooms, closets, hallways, storage rooms. So a kitchen is a habitable room. And I think we talked about that last time. But in any case, so I at least have to have one lighting outlet. So that would mean, your living room. Now, hold on, there are two exceptions. So now let's talk about the living room, right? So I'm in my living room. I've got can lights. I've also got a ceiling fan with no light, but I do have can lights. It says lighting outlets shall be permitted to be controlled by occupancy sensors that are, 1, in addition to listed wall-mounted control devices, or 2, located at a customary wall switch location and equipped with a manual override that will allow the sensor to function as a wall switch. All right, so that's your occupancy sensors, and we see more and more of those being installed after the fact on existing homes, in which you got to be careful of. David Engelhardt and Robert Weber and all the guys out there, you got to be careful of that. If there's a neutral pull to that switch, you don't want to be using the equipment grounding conductor as a neutral return. Objectionable current violation, Article 250. Robert, you said you can have a damp location outdoors, under an eave, in a screened porch, outdoor kitchen. I would think you would need a PF rated for outdoor use and not necessarily listed for outdoor use. Also defined location dry. So let's talk. Okay, so I'm going to get back to the exception, and then we're going to get back to this discussion on that lighting, on that ceiling fan in the bathroom. So in other than kitchens, laundry areas, and bathrooms, one or more receptacles controlled by a listed wall-mounted control device shall be permitted in lieu of lighting outlets. So in my living room, I can't have a receptacle controlled to plug in a lamp and be my light for the living room, because it says in other than kitchens, laundry. Oh, wait. No, I'm sorry. My living room, I can. In other than kitchens, so kitchens have to have a light fixture. You can't control a receptacle outlet. Laundry areas, got to have that light fixture. Yeah, light luminaire. It has to have a lighting outlet. And bathrooms, one or more receptacles. So I could have a living room. I could have a living room. I can have a bedroom. Any habitable room other than a kitchen, a laundry area, or a bathroom, I could just have a receptacle that is controlled by a wall-mounted control device, a light switch. To turn that receptacle on and off, anticipating you would plug in a lamp. That would be used for lighting that habitable space. So you do have an exception, but you can't use that for kitchens, laundries, or bathrooms. So those are the two exceptions for the habitable rooms, kitchens, laundry areas, and bathrooms in a dwelling unit. David Engelhardt. Now let's go back to that ceiling fan. Let's go look at dry and wet and see damp. Now this is my, where would you find it? Under location, dry, location damp, location dry, location wet. So here is a damp location. Locations protected from weather. So a bathroom would be protected from weather. And not subject to saturation with water or other liquids, but subject to moderate degrees of moisture. Informational note. Examples of such locations include partially protected locations under canopies, marquees, roofed, open porches, and like locations, and interior locations subject to moderate degrees of moisture, such as basements, some barns, and cold storage warehouses. Half-hots are popular with the value engineering crowd. Half-hots. If it ain't half-hot, don't make it not. Now let's look at a dry location. A location not normally subject to dampness or wetness. A location classified as dry may be temporarily subject to dampness or wetness, as in the case of a building under construction. What's a bathroom? Is a bathroom a dry location? I could argue that it is. Steam, periodic steam from a shower is not a wet location. It's not, in my opinion, a damp location. But I need the AHJs on this call. Not on this call. What is this called? On this live stream. PF equals paddle fan. Thank you, Robert. I'm like, power factor? What are you dealing with power factor? PF. So David Engelhardt, Robert, who else? Violi. Looking through the list of some people on here. Would you say a bathroom is a damp location, a dry location, a wet location? What is the normal condition of a bathroom atmosphere? Don't answer the question with a question. What's your opinion? damp, wet, dry. You got 1 of 3 answers. I want to see them in the chat. Damp, wet, dry. If I see damp, wet, or dry, I'm going to know it's your opinion of a bathroom, because that's going to dictate some of the stuff, Robert from Omaha, some of the stuff that we have in the enclosure. Okay? That's going to dictate the equipment, whether or not that ceiling fan is for an outside or inside, indoor, outdoor, all that good stuff. So anyhow, all right, so 210.70. The other thing we have to understand is a lighting outlet. A lighting outlet. So if I go to O, L-M-N-O, O comes after N, outline, lighting, outlet, outlet, outlet. Doo-doo-doo-doo. All right, let me look at L. Lighting assembly, limited care, lighting outlet. All right, so here's the definition of a lighting outlet. Hold on. I'm looking. Here we go. Lighting outlet, Article 100. It's an outlet intended for the direct connection of a lamp holder or luminaire. So we have to understand what a luminaire is. What's a luminaire? I'm glad you asked, Robert. Larry Griffith, we got damp. All right, Larry, thank you. I would say dry, based, Robert from Omaha, dry based on the normal condition of bathroom atmospheres. And I'm losing my mouse, I'm losing my mind. Joseph Ioli, dry location, except for the shower stall. So we got dry, we got damp and dry. Nobody's saying wet. Remember, lighting outlet is a point on the electrical system at which power is taken for utilization equipment. Robert, remember, lighting outlet. Lighting outlet, we just saw the definition. Lighting outlet. An outlet intended for the direct connection of a lamp holder or a luminaire. A point in the electrical system in which power is taken for utilization equipment. That is not a lighting outlet, Robert from Omaha. That is an outlet. So you have the general term of outlet, and then you have lighting outlet. Lighting outlet is where we're going to anticipate having a luminaire. Matthew Hermanson, I would agree with you, but the tub and shower area is a wet location. Yep, but I might be convinced to modify that comment. Matthew, I'm almost in your ballpark. I can understand if I'm in my shower. If I'm in my shower, all right, that's definitely a wet location. That's why I'm in there, okay? Steam from a shower. I could have steam from a boiling pot on my stove. I don't see if my bathroom had enough moisture to condense on anything. Now, I guess the smaller the bathroom, the more chances you might have of condensing. Larry Griffith, the code says dry. Willie, dry under normal conditions. I'm with the dry guys. I really am. I'm with the dry people. I really am. I erred on the side of caution for 2 reasons. One, you don't, hey, look at that, I got balloons. Err on the side of caution and you get a party. One of the reasons I erred on the side of caution is because I don't like to argue, especially with an inspector. Just don't like to, if I don't have to. And the ceiling fan that we selected was something that my wife liked and wanted in the bathroom because she wanted that paddle fan that looked like, you know, like the palm leaves or whatever. And that's typically an outdoor ceiling fan. So it worked out. It just worked out. But I would agree, in my opinion, I believe the room is dry, and I agree with you, Matthew. The tub and shower area, I mean, I'm right there in that area where I have water So now the tub, if I have a tub that has a shower head, yeah, okay. The moment I have a shower and whatnot, but the steam or dampness is only for a short period of time. Exactly, Robert. It's only for a short period of time. It's damp or wet, not the general state of the room. I would agree with you. But my point is, we are all in different categories and of different opinions. And you know who's the only opinion that matters? The AHJ. All right, so check with your AHJ when you're going to put fixtures like that inside of your bathroom. Now, that was the other interesting part, was the ceiling fan. In my case, the inspector called out the ceiling fan as needed to be a wet location, an outdoor ceiling fan. But the lighting sconces everywhere else inside that bathroom, none of those are listed for outdoor use. So my only message, please be consistent. If you're not consistent, now I wasn't going to raise that to say, hey, those aren't listed for outdoors, because you know what that's going to do. They're going to go, oh yeah, those are flagged too. So, but my thought process is, if that would rule out pretty much every single bathroom sconce. They're not designed any different. They're not designed for a wet location. They're not gasketed, etc. So requiring a ceiling fan to meet those requirements, or a ceiling light fixture, the can lights in my bathroom were not rated for outdoor. Okay, so be consistent. In my opinion, it's a dry location, but that's just my opinion. Remember, what comes out here, hopefully started here, and it is all from the heart. All right, so extended stay rooms that have such high humidity levels that the PTAC receptacles on the exterior walls prematurely, yes, I've seen that too. In fact, on my outdoor receptacles, I removed all of my GFCIs because they prematurely failed. They had the heavy-duty weather covers. They were all installed per the code. It's just they experienced that drastic change, and I changed all of my GFCI receptacles out. I have GFCI in my breaker, but if I was going to do things differently, I would put the GFCI receptacle that's protecting the outside receptacle on the inside of the house. So keep it out of those wet locations, in my opinion. If you get called out on your home, we will have to check the definition of suspector, not inspector, in 70p. Absolutely, just buy them a pizza. Everything goes away if you get them a pizza. All right, so let's go back to 210.70. Whoop, not 240. I went too far. 210.70. So we talked about the dwelling unit requirements. We talked about the habitable rooms. We talked about the two exceptions. Now, for dwelling units, there is another thing that says, I think an indoor rated unit may degrade over time. Joseph, I would not tend to disagree with you. I would not tend to disagree with you in that. And now on the can lights, would you do the same thing for the can lights? Would you say you want an outdoor can light, which means wet location can lights? I mean, they have those covers over the front, they're gasketed. If you wouldn't do it for the can light, why do it for the ceiling fan? Ceiling fans are easier to change than the can lights, brother. Now imagine if you will, a receptacle and cord failing by melting and even catching the room on fire. Ooh, Matthew, love it. Good point. Okay, so 210.70A dwelling units, we know that. We went over 1. 2, additional locations. Oh, well, hold on. Luminaire, a complete lighting unit. Don't call them lighting fixtures anymore. We call them luminaires. And this is a lighting fixture. It anticipates you're going to put a luminaire there, and it's being controlled by a wall-mounted control device. And the lamp or the lamps are separate from the luminaire. Okay, it may also include parts to protect the light source or the ballast, or to distribute the light. A lamp holder itself is not a luminaire. All right, so be mindful of that. All right, so 2 additional locations. Additional lighting outlets shall be installed in accordance with the following. At least one lighting outlet controlled by a listed wall-mounted control device shall be installed in hallways, stairways, attached garages, detached garages, and accessory buildings with electric power. Just think about this. You know, I love when we talk about code adoption, and they talk about cost impact. When you look at some of these, I would love to walk to a spec home inside of a new development and walk through. If they have more than one lighting outlet in a garage, you're exceeding the bare minimum of the code requirements. And every one of those lighting outlets cost money. Yet we will argue about the cost of an additional GFCI receptacle somewhere, or additional AFCI circuit breaker somewhere, or ground fault protection of equipment, all these other safety related items. We'll argue tooth and nail about the cost of the house, but go into the garage, see if they have more than one lighting outlet. Mine has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lighting outlets. All right, additional lighting outlets, and those are fluorescent tubes, 2 each, 2 lamps each. Additional lighting outlets shall be installed in accordance with the following. So 1 lighting outlet controlled by a listed wall-mounted control device, hallways, stairways, attached and detached garages, and accessory buildings with electric power. My accessory building, which on one of my previous calls, I think we decided it's now a garage because I can put my lawn tractor in it. But in any case, it would be, I like to think of it as a detached garage for my Kubota tractor that is drivable by this guy and my wife, right? And it's got 4-wheel drive with a diesel engine. In Texas, they don't call them tractors. Okay, we had that comment already. They call those lawn mowers. But in any case, I call it a tractor. I have 1 lighting outlet. I have 1 luminaire in that. No, I have 2. I have 2. I have 1 in the back and I have 1 front. So it exceeds the minimum code requirements. And it's a very small building. For dwelling unit, attached garage and detached garages with electric power, at least 1 exterior lighting outlet controlled by a listed wall-mounted control device shall be installed to provide luminaires. So I have in my house, on my back porch, I don't know if I can do this. I am going to try this. Hold on. What do we call that? I called that an outbuilding, right? Backyard. You know, I love this. In this Apple, you can search. There we go. Okay, so that's before my change. I changed my. I put a door on my back shed. I made the back door, the door on the shed larger to get my Kubota tractor in it, not my lawnmower, my tractor in that, and I cannot find for the life of me a photo of the revised shed. I do have a photo of the shed beforehand. All right, so this is my little back shed that I opened up the door. Okay, so you'll notice it has 1 lighting outlet on the outside, and inside there are 2. Get the balloons. How do you turn this stuff off? In the inside, I have 2. I can't go 2 because I'm going to get balloons. If I go like this, I get something different. I get confetti. But I have two lighting outlets inside the shed. What I did was I took the window out. I took that lighting outlet out. I put two lights on the outside of the shed, and I widened the door because my tractor couldn't fit through that door. So now the whole front of that is a door. But in any case, you need in those other additional locations. Now there are exceptions. The exception to 2 says for an outdoor grade level bulkhead door, stairway access to a subgrade basement. You know what those are? That's those doors that are like angled, that when you open them, you go down a set of steps to go into the basement. People in Texas don't know about basements, nor Florida. But others do. For an outdoor grade level bulkhead door with stairway access to subgrade level basement, the required lighting outlet that provides illumination on the stairway steps shall be permitted to be located in the basement interior within 5 foot. We made this change during the 2023 code cycle. So the thought process was, do I need to put a light outside, or can I put it within 5 foot on the inside that will light that entryway? It's possible. And that way it keeps it inside the structure. Shall be permitted to be located in the basement interior within 5 foot horizontally of the bottommost stairway riser. This interior lighting, so that pulls a little bit. So the bottommost interior stair riser would be like if you have a square pad and then you go to that first step. That's that first step. You've got to go 5 foot from that. And there usually is a little pad there before you get to the steps. This interior lighting outlet shall be permitted to be controlled by a listed wall-mounted control device or by a unit switch of the interior luminaire or interior lamp holder. So I could have a little pull switch on them. No, you don't really want to walk through a new build spec home. Yes, I do. I love walking through those. Always politely ask to see the code reference. That is true. Allow me to clarify. Now imagine the receptacle. Yes, always. I agree with you, Willie. Oh, that's it. When someone points to a violation or whatnot, ask to see the code reference. Very good point. So, all right. Oh, here it is. Here we go. I found my picture. There it is. That's what I did. So I took that window out. This is right after I did the hardy board. That's on the right-hand side. You'll see some of the caulking I put in there. I put two lighting outlets on the outside of the shed. And I have those controllable by a wireless control device that is operated by my phone, or I could do it by a timer, but I turn the timer off. There's no need to turn it on and off. All right, I believe they are called Bilco doors up here in New York. Ah, thank you, Steve. To gain access to the basement from the outside grade, Bilco doors. I gotta be kidding me. I gotta turn that off. Oh, that was beautiful. I wasn't even doing anything. I love it. All right. Bilco. Uh-oh, better get Bilco. All right, so you've got that exception. Now, 3, that's the exception to 2. In 3, it says, where lighting outlets are installed for an interior stairway with 6 or more risers between floor levels, there shall be a listed wall-mounted control device at each floor level and at each landing level that includes a stairway entry to control the lighting outlets. Interesting. So, where lighting outlets are installed for an interior stairway with 6 or more risers between floor levels. See, I don't have a landing here. So I just have one set of stairs that goes upstairs. All right, Willie, sun outlet. Let's go to 2020 code 210.70. 210.70. I'm not sure. Lighting outlets, listed wall mounted controls, unless controlled by provider. Where one or more lighting is installed, interior, floor level chandeliers includes lighting outlets. So what's the sun outlet? I'm not sure what you're talking about there. Are you making me search, thinking that there was something for a window, if there was a window there? Are you just doing this? Are you joking around? Are you pulling my chain? What are you doing to me, Willie? What are you doing to me, brother? Come on. There has never been an allocation for any type of window. There's no exception. There was no exception in the 2017. There was no exception for, like, if you have a window, 210.17, 210.70 in the 2020 code. And then in the 2023 code, there's no exception. I don't know what you mean by sun outlet. So anyway, I wasn't sure if you were talking about a window, because I know some people will say, well, if I have a window at my stairway or at the landing space, that will provide the light for that space. But remember, if you're relying on the window to provide the light, there has to be a light outside the window, which would be the sun. And usually when you need light, the sun ain't around. So anyway, there is one exception to 1, 2, and 3. 1 is the is the hallways, 2 is the garages, etc., and 3 is the lighting outlet. There's only, and it says remote control or automatic control of lighting shall be permitted in hallways, in stairways, and at outdoor entrances. Remote, central, or automatic control of lighting. So you're allowed to automatically control the lighting in hallways, stairways, and outdoor entrances. Did we have that before? We had in hallways, stairways, and outdoor entrances, remote, central, or automatic control of lighting shall be permitted. That the only thing they did in the 2023 was reword it, reorganize it to align with the style manual. No technical change there. Now, the item number 4, dimmer control of lighting outlets. So if you have dimmer control on these stairways, and it says in accordance with 210.70 A23, and remember A23 is interior stairways. So we had a great discussion about this during the NEC cycle, and we had a discussion last cycle as well, I believe. Yeah, because we made changes in that as well. Dimmer control of lighting outlets installed in accordance with A23 shall not be permitted unless the listed control devices can provide dimming control to maximum brightness at each control location for the interior stairway illumination. Here was the discussion that we had in this regard. Bilco is a door manufacturer. I did not know that. Wow, Matthew, thank you. You removed the sun outlet. Okay, so here was the discussion on stairways. If I had a dimming control at the top of the stairs, and I didn't have one at the bottom of the stairs, what we wanted to avoid was somebody either purposely or accidentally dimming the lights very low at the top of the stairs, and then when you turn the switch on down at the bottom of the stairs, you don't get full light. That was the concern that we had, and we said, if you're going to do a dimmer, you've got to put that dimmer control at each control location for the interior stairway, and each of them has to be able to provide dimming control to maximum brightness. So I have to provide that at each control location for the interior stairway. And if you look at A23, it says where lighting outlets are installed for an interior stairway with 6 or more risers between floor levels, there shall be a listed wall-mounted control device at each floor level and at each landing level that includes a stairway entry to control the lighting outlets. So every one of those locations has to have the ability to put the brightness to maximum. So be mindful of that. If you forget that, that is an area of you're going to get nailed. Okay, so those are so we know the locations in a room. Now let's talk about the lighting calculation. In chapter 2, here's what we did in 220. Now let's talk about the journey. Let's talk about the 2020 code first. Talk about the 2020 code first, because in the 2020 code, if you go to 220.12, here's the first thing we did. We removed dwelling units. I'm going to grab the 17 code because I don't believe we did it. Yeah. In the 2020 code, we removed dwelling units. Remember, in the 2017, we had a line item that said dwelling units, and there was a little paren A, or a superscript A, and A said C 220.14J. 220.14J has in one family, two family, and multifamily dwelling units, etc., etc., etc. That was there. So what we did was we said, look, we don't need to put the VA per square foot in 220.12 because this was our goal. We wanted to remove the references to the dwelling unit and put those elsewhere. Keep 220.12 focused on non-dwelling occupancies, primarily because those are designed and developed against the ASHRAE requirements, right? You have the, for commercial buildings, et cetera, you have requirements from ASHRAE on, and unfortunately, ASHRAE calls them watts per square foot. Most of the lighting people talk watts per square foot. So thanks, Wooly, for confirming that. So the issue that we had during the 2020 code cycle, watts per square foot is not how we size distribution equipment. We size it as VA. Now, the lighting people love to talk watts. Why? Because in many of these applications, that's what we get billed on. You get billed, unless you have a power factor penalty. Typically, the power factor penalty is your large commercial buildings might have a power factor penalty. Your industrials are going to have power factor penalties from the utility. They want to give you usable power. And if you recall what a power factor is, you have your watts, which is usable power, which does the work, and then you have your VARs. And VARs are, it's the energy that's necessary to do things like turn rotating equipment, like energize and keep compact fluorescence burning, right? So what we learned was that lighting, so during our discussions, during the, I believe me, I got, I was called Mr. VA. I'm telling you, I caught a lot of flack for this one. I was called Mr. VA. And let's look at compact fluorescent light bulbs, BULBS, power factor. All right, so here we go. I'll just go. I mean, if it's in Wikipedia, it's got to be. Let me look at something different. ECNM magazine, I believe, has something. So what we learned was, or at least what I learned, because I looked at it, I'm like, I've got some concern in regard to whether or not it's really unity. I mean, we've got drivers. LEDs have drivers. Fluorescent lighting have drivers. Compact fluorescents have drivers built into the bulb. You know, so in any case, I did some homework, and this is just an example. This is from an article from ECNM magazine. It says, when load draws current that is not in phase, blah, 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 poor power factor causes efficiency of delivery. For example, a load with a power factor of 0.5 will require as much as, so power factor makes a difference. And look at this, Department of Energy and the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency requires a minimum power factor rating of 0.5 for screw-base electronically ballasted compact fluorescents. That's a minimum power factor rating. In our testing for Energy Star, we haven't found any CFLs less than 0.5, but they're not one either. So, so for a rating above 0.5, you have to add something to the electronics so it will help the cost of the lamp, etc. So what I learned was fluorescents can be, a lot of your fluorescents are a 0.5 power factor. What does that mean? If my compact fluorescent is a 1 watt bulb, 1 watt at 0.5 power factor means the VA is 2 VA. So I would not size my equipment based upon 1 watt. I would have to size it based upon 2 VA. Then I do my math to calculate the current, because I've got to think about the power factor. And if you do your homework and you start looking at fluorescents, LEDs, let's take a look at LEDs. LED lighting, LED driver power factor. For instance, if an LED has a power factor of 0.95, it means it has an efficiency of 95%. Blah, blah, blah. Philips power factor. Look at this. Philips lighting has a paper. Look at that. Here we go. Philips white paper. Look at this. When changing from conventional to LED lighting, they have a document that educates us on this. Right? So my point was that when we got into 220.12, we could not, and if they remember, there was if you looked at section 220.12, it mentioned that it said, I'm going to grab my 17 book. It said in 220.12, the unit values are based on a minimum load conditions and 100% power factor and may not provide sufficient capacity for the installation contemplated. So I raised to the team that, hey, look, we can't say it's unity. That informational note's no longer correct because we're dealing with LED lighting, we're dealing with fluorescents, compact fluorescents. We're dealing with other lighting technologies that is not unity power factor anymore. So watts is not equal to VA when it comes to lighting anymore. Whatever those watts are, divide that by the power factor. Yes, divided by the power factor. Okay? So we made a change, and if you look, so this is what we did. We had a chart that showed based upon the square foot of homes, etc., etc. We did the calculation. We calculated the VA, and we took the watts, converted it to VA based upon a power factor, and we had to figure out, what are we going to agree on? When you think about a lot of the lighting solutions, are some of them 0.5? Yes. Are some of them 0.99? Maybe. I'm just looking to see. LED installations. So I'll tell you what we settled at. was, and you know what I'm going to do is, I like this document. This is a good reference. I'm going to put it in the chat. Oop. I've got to go up here, do a copy, come over here, and do a paste. Bam. So I just put the, if you're on the YouTube channel, you can go out and grab this document. It's available from Philips Lighting. Low power factor in standby does not pose a problem for the application in terms of grid current. They talk about grid currents and all that jazz. Apparent power, consumed power, power factor. Here we go. Group of 8. Here, look at this. So here we go. Group of 18 drivers. Power factor fully dimmed 0.74. Driver in standby 0.038. Driver in full load 0.995. So depends on where you have it dimmed to as well. Your driver power factor is going to change. Okay, whether it's an LED lighting, it's no longer unity. Compact fluorescence, regular fluorescence, if it's not an incandescent light bulb, it's no longer unity power factor. So what we did was we made our basis on 0.8, I think. It was 0.8 power factor. I got to go to 220. Oh, it's no longer 220.12. I'll talk about the move. We said 80% power factor, so we used 80% power factor. I'm over an hour, but I want to finish this thought process on this change. All right, so in the 2020 code, we got rid of dwelling unit out of the VA per square foot because when you're doing a dwelling unit as well, it's not just all lighting, it's receptacles too. We lump the receptacle requirements, the number of branch circuits to feed lighting and receptacles into the 1 VA per square foot calculation. So for commercial buildings, we've got the 0.8 power factor. Then for dwelling units, we realized that in the past it was in J, in 220.14 J. What's the title of 220.14? 220.14 is titled Other Loads, All Occupancies. I can't have an occupancy in a section that deals with loads. So we took dwelling units J out and we created its own section in the 2023 code, and it is 220.41, dwelling units, minimum unit load. In one family, two family, and multifamily dwellings, the minimum unit load shall be not less than 33 volt amperes per meter squared or 3 VA per square foot. Unit loads include the following: lighting. In my opinion, because of the use of, and we're not accounting for it, and this 3 VA has never changed. It's been around for a long time. Yet we're putting more products inside of a dwelling unit that have a power factor. We're not accounting for it in VA. So we say 3 VA per square foot. That hasn't changed yet. If I really looked at all the individual loads, because of the lighting, it's got a power factor. A lot of your appliances have power factors. If there's motors in them, etc. There's things that have a power factor that were unity in the past that are no longer unity. We're not adjusting the VA per square foot in a dwelling unit to account for that. Unit loads include the following: lighting and receptacle outlets, and no additional load calculations shall be required. All general use receptacle outlets, 20 ampere rating or less, including receptacles connected to the circuit specified in 210.11 C3 and C4, the receptacle outlets specified in 52E and G, the lighting outlets specified in 210.70. The minimum lighting load shall be determined using the minimum unit load and the floor area as determined in 220.5 Charlie for dwelling occupancies. Motors rated less than 1/8 horsepower and connected to the lighting circuit shall be considered part of the minimum lighting load. We lump a lot more in to the lighting load than just lighting when you're dealing with dwelling units. An important thing to remember. It's just an important thing to remember. And I know I saw comments over here somewhere about moving to LEDs and load calculations. But remember, there's more in that lighting calculation than just lighting. Okay, I'm scrolling up through some of the comments on our YouTube. Hopefully you're subscribing to the IAEI's YouTube site and enjoying the content. I hope you are intrigued by some of our dialogue. This discussion, we just touched the surface of lighting. We didn't get into lighting calculations. We talked a little bit about some of the changes that occurred. I didn't get into the 2026 code cycle. I would encourage you to get involved with task group work. And if I can see you in South Carolina, in Charleston, in January, I would love to see you come to a panel 2 meeting, sit outside the wall, outside the walls, engage with panel members during cookie time and ice cream time and coffee time. All right. So I hope you got something out of today's session. I enjoy these. I hope you do. I learn, and I know we may noodle a little bit around different areas, and we may take some side steps, but I hope you get something out of it. All right, for Halloween, I'm dressed up as an electrician with a Burger King crown that my building official gave me after he blacked out burger and wrote in code for Code King. I love it. And you know what, David? We need a picture. I need a picture. Thank you, Steve Cavaleris. You are the man. I appreciate your hanging in there for the session. Thank you very much for all you do for the electrical industry and electrical safety. I know everybody on this stream participates, not only in this stream, but in the industry. We all work together to increase safety. That's our goal. We have a common goal, and I appreciate that. So thanks for tuning in. Thank you, Willie. Thanks, Steve. Thanks, David. Nihad, thank you very much. Great job today on your task group. David Engelhart, everybody. Tangent inquiry, shall I change all my future Oh, David, no. So the only reason I'm going at 12:30 is because my brother Nihad does his CMP2 task group 2 meetings, and he ends them at 12:30. And I want to engage for a couple of reasons on my task group work. Not that all of the task group decisions actually come to fruition, but you hear the arguments and debates that occur, and you hear people's thoughts that may or may not be on the task group that's on the code making panel. I know Don Gannier joins in. Others join in who are paid, paid consultants who are fighting for seeking change in the code. I don't know if you want to call them lobbyists or whatever you want to call them, but they are paid individuals who are trying to make changes in the National Electrical Code. So you hear all of their opinions and input, which I think is a value of the process. So I try to tune into as many of those as I can. And Nihad's task group goes till 12:30. So when Nihad gets done, which I'm not sure when that's going to happen, we'll go back to 12 o'clock, or if I record a session. So next week, I'm probably not going to be able to go live. Alexa, what time is it in Marrakesh?
Marrakesh, 6:40.
So it's 6:40 p.m. I might be able to go live next week from Marrakesh. I don't know if Nihad has his CMP2 meetings scheduled for next week. November, what is that? November 7th? Yes, he has a task group. Task group 2. No, he does not. Oh, Tuesday. He does. So yes, if I go live, David, it will be at 12:30 Eastern. If I can get a good connection from Morocco, Africa, I don't know. If I get a good connection, I'll go live. If not, I'm going to have to record it and upload it. If I upload it, it will be at 12 o'clock. If I go live, it will have to be after his session. All right. Thank you. Thanks for what you do for the electrical industry. Thanks for what you do for electrical safety. Remember to stay safe and please stay healthy. Take care. God bless.